This is one of the craziest situations that I've seen in a very long time, and I know plenty and most of you have been keeping up with the Kadyn Proctor situation, how it all began and how it looks like it's about to end with Kadyn Proctor coming right back to the University of Alabama, where he should have stayed the entire time. But if you have not kept up with this entire situation and you are wondering why people are talking about it, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of that right here. But before we get into that, make sure that you guys like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. We are on the way to 2,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate that. And with that, let's get into this video. So we're going to talk about this situation because I think there's a lot of different angles in which we can attack this specific situation. Why this is a good move for the University of Alabama having Kadyn Proctor come back, because we do need some more help on the offensive line, and I think that he will be a great addition. Now, I know a lot of Alabama fans, including myself, gave that entire offensive line a lot of flack that season. Now, Kadyn Proctor, who is a freshman, played as a true freshman, and it is a learning curve, especially when you're going from the high school level. Being somebody who is as big as Kadyn Proctor, probably and more than likely used to pushing everybody around. He was the main man on campus. He was the guy, he was the one who would not let anything fly, right? So we're looking at a guy who came in as a true freshman and actually played decent. He did have some miscues, he did have some misassignments, whatever you want to call it, but at the same time, the guy was still a young true freshman, and I think he will be a great addition this year. Somebody who is probably getting stronger, getting more and more in depth, more in tune with the fact that he is playing college football now, and so he will be better. IQ is probably getting better as well. So with all of that being said, that's the good part. But this does show you how crazy this transfer portal era can be. So rewind, we had a situation where Iowa was tampering. They were in communication with Kadyn Proctor, and I don't know if it was the entirety of the season, but it was a good part of the season. All right, a good part of the season. They were in contact with this man while he was still on the team. It was self-reported, and he reported it himself, actually. So if we look back at this video right here, it's going to tell us exactly what we need to know.
Ask you about the Iowa coaches seem to have your back even when you picked Alabama. Very disappointed, but they kept the lines of communication open in the mirror. How did that help you decide to come back?
You know, no bridges were burned, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it was so easy for me to pick them when I did enter the transfer portal, because we still have those relationships. And even after I was doing bad in the SEC, you know, struggling, they hit me up and said, you know, we're proud of you. You're gonna get through this, and that's what ultimately helped me with my decision, because you know they still believed in me.
And so you heard it right there. Kadyn Proctor basically says that Iowa was talking to him, encouraging him while he was going through his ups and downs at the University of Alabama. Like I just stated, he had some miscues, but at the same time, we give him some flack because he was a true freshman. So with that being said, all of this was going down while he was at the University of Alabama. Nick Saban retires, the portal opens up, people leave. All right, cool, whatever, it is what it is. Anybody who has left because Nick Saban is gone for one reason or another, I am fine with it. A lot of the times, as I have stated to a lot of Alabama fans, not just them though, anybody who watches college football and who complains about these kids hopping into the portal when a coach leaves, I will say this: a coach is the person who directly talks to these kids on a daily basis. These kids do not owe the school anything, as we have seen previously where coaches up and leave these kids and they're looking like, what are we gonna do now? So I'm fine with kids leaving if a coach leaves. I'm fine with kids hopping in the portal if they feel like they are better than somebody who is in front of them and they want more opportunity. That's what the portal is there for. But it's an entirely different thing when people hop in the portal, say somebody has a great season, leaves a smaller school, takes a bag to go somewhere else. Now that's when it starts to get a little shaky with me. But in this situation, Kadyn Proctor left, one, because it was stated that he was homesick. I don't know how true that is right now, but at the same time, it's not looking like that was so true, or he wouldn't have came back, right? But it could be a little bit true. We all get a little homesick from time to time, but at the same time, he decided to come back, so we're just gonna leave it at that. All right, and two, I was persuaded the situation a little bit. I saw a comment that was very funny earlier. It was like, I was late on that NIL chat. And I was like, man, it is a crazy, crazy college football world right now. But anyways, let me get back to the main point. The main point is he's coming back through a crazy amount of events that have happened. And you know, I will say this, it takes a lot of swallowing pride to make a move like this. Now, I don't know if he went over to Iowa, saw what they were scheming up, saw what they were brewing up, and was like, this team is not going to help me become who I want to become and the player that I want to be. They're not going to help me, so I'm going back to Alabama. I don't know if that was the case, or maybe it was some guys on the Alabama team who, you know, who he's cool with, who he wanted to come back, you know, to play with, stuff like that. He wasn't feeling the vibe over there. I don't know exactly what it is, but what I can see from this entire situation is the fact that people are starting to see what Alabama is cooking up over there in Tuscaloosa. Coach KD is doing things that a lot of people said or did not believe that he could do. He is recruiting. Recruits are coming in. Practices, to my knowledge, have been going very well. There is a huge spotlight around that entire program, around that entire city right now, for every little minute detail that anyone can find. And so far, it has been really good. And so we're going to see exactly how this thing plays out. But I think people are starting to notice, Kadyn Proctor included, because I'm not exactly sure that he was sure that the ship would be going smoothly with Nick Saban's departure, on top of all of the tampering that Iowa was doing. They self-reported that, you know they did that, right? But anyways, I do want to touch at this at one more angle and one more thought for a second. The fact that the man was in the transfer portal as a starter, I think that's one of the things that I absolutely hate. I talked about it briefly, but I want to go one more step with it, because I brought up the fact that a lot of people or a lot of players are at smaller schools. They have a great year. They leave that small school in order to chase a bag or in order to improve draft stock, whatever you want to say they're leaving that small school to do. I may even make a pass for that, because sometimes, especially in this climate, a lot of kids believe that if you're not at the big school, if you're not at the brand school, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Georgias, or even the Iowas, the Missouris, if you're not at a school like that, you're not necessarily going to get the recognition. So you see maybe players from a UAB, South Alabama or something try to go and take that next step. That's even one thing. I don't necessarily like it, but I do understand that, because you're trying to put yourself in the best position. But what I don't like is when these kids leave from one big school, go to another big school in order to just chase the biggest bag that's available. And I think that is a huge problem in and of itself. But that's a topic for another video. But I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on that specifically. I like the fact that these kids are getting paid. I believe that kids should have been getting paid a long time ago. So I'm glad they got their money, and they should continue to get their money. But there should be some things that we look at in terms of how things are going back and forth. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, because a coach can just hop up and leave kids and take the next bag as well, which I think that's crazy. You don't necessarily see that in the NFL, but I don't know, man. College football, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, some things I like, but I still love this damn sport. But let me know what you think about my thoughts and opinions down below, and give me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.